Hi, thank you so much for joining me. So today I have several looks using the new Chantecaille. This is the Warm Eye Quartet. It's part of the Hummingbird collection for spring 2020. And I did do swatches in another video, but I'm gonna swatch these again real quickly. So the first shade here is a peach, okay? And you can see that it is a shimmer shade. And this. All right, so this is the first shade. The second shade, this one here, is a matte brown. Okay, and it's pretty neutral, but it leans a little bit warm. There's definitely a little bit of like a reddish clay undertone to it, but it's very, very slight. So it's pretty neutral. Okay, and the third shade is this slate color, and you can see that it is another shimmer shade. This is my favorite shade in the quad. I really think this is the shade that makes the quad wearable for cool and warm tone people. All right, and this is the last shade. And I'm not sure, this doesn't really seem to show up that well on camera to me, but you can see that it is a like golden peach shade, but there's some pink pearl in there. So on the hand swatches, there, you can kind of see a little bit of the pink there now. Okay, so that's kind of hitting it. So you can either look kind of coppery gold, or in certain lighting, you see like a little bit of a pink shift, but it doesn't make your eyelid look pink. Really, it just kind of makes the whole look a little bit more coppery. So I think this is a great topper shade, and I love blending all of these colors together. So please stay tuned. Join me for some eye looks featuring these colors, and I will be back at the end and give you guys my final thoughts. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Okay, so for this look so far, I have on the Guerlain Essential Foundation in 00N. I have the Sisley Stylo Lumiere under my eyes in shade 1. With just a little bit of the by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra powder, the original one, tapped under the eyes. And then for blush, I put on the Givenchy Prisme blush in Romantica. And this is the blush highlighter duo, and I focused on the blush side. So I focused mostly on the pink with just a touch of the highlighter side mixed in there. Then for finishing powder, I used the new Chantecaille blur powder. So this is from the Hummingbird collection. And then highlight, I put on the Chanel Duo de Camelias. For my brows, I'm using the Wander Beauty Brow Gel in shade Taupe. And that's everything that I have on at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to focus on using the Slate shade more as an eyeshadow. This is shade number 3. And I'm going to be using the Rephr number 1 brush. So I'm looking for something kind of smallish. And I'm going to start at the outer edge and kind of bring it about halfway into my lid. So I'm actually kind of tapping this on, just a little bit of a sweeping motion after I tap it. So this color is so, I really like how saturated it is. And honestly, most of the silvers that have been coming out have been a lot more of a brighter silver. And I like how this is more of a medium tone gray. So I'm just kind of tapping the excess on there. So I'm going to layer that section. Okay, so this is shade number 3 by itself, just on the outer half. And now for the inner portion, this is the Sonia G Crease Pro. I am going to take a little bit of shade number 2, the matte shade, and I'm just gonna get a little bit on the brush. It's actually a little much. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of tap this on here in the inner portion, just a little bit. So I'm not really overlapping here. I'm just tapping up to that. Okay, and I'm going to use this same brush. I'm just wiping off the excess, and I am going to go into the number 4, the topper shade, and I'm going to put this on top. So this time I'm going to take a little bit and kind of edge that over the slate so they're mixed together. I really like those colors together. Okay, so I've got those. They're kind of layered in the middle. The topper is layered over the slate in the middle, but this part over here is just going to be the topper over the matte shade. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same crease brush. I'm just wiping off anything that's left, and I'm going in with the highlight shade. I'm going to add a little bit to the tip, and I'm going into the crease. And I'm just going to kind of smooth out the crease area, kind of blend up a little bit. Just to give it like a little bit of a blended washed look. Okay, so I actually really like this one. For my skin tone, I really like having more of the slate shade. I think people with a warmer skin tone, you know, maybe it would be better as less of an accent, but I personally really love having this warm and cool mix on my eyes. I really love mixing warm and cool colors, and my skin's pretty neutral, so it works really well for me. I think I'm going to just put on some black eyeliner, I think, today, and some mascara, and I'll be right back. Thanks. Okay, so this is the final makeup look, and I really like having these two colors kind of blended together in the middle. I think this is 3 and 4 in the very center of the lid, and for my coloring, I really like having the slate more emphasized on the eye. So I think that works really well for me. So to finish up this eye look, I actually used the Chantecaille Luster Glide Silk Infused Eyeliner in Slate. So I used this on the upper and lower lashes. And then I used this Rephr 02 brush. I used the tip of it to actually kind of smudge that in. And I smudged a little bit of the slate shade under my eyes as well. So just to kind of blend in the line of the eyeliner. So just so you can see what the pan looks like as I've been using it. So you can see that, you know, obviously it's been disturbed, but none of this is actual like fallout. It's not loose. It's not falling out. So just in case you were interested, these shadows I'm really liking them so far. So when I wore them yesterday, I didn't notice any creasing until somewhere between 8 and 9 hours. So, and it was very minimal at that point. So hoping to see how well they last today, but so far everything's great. Then I used the By Terry Lash Expert Twist Mascara, and on the inner corner, I wanted something to kind of highlight the inner corner a little bit. So I went and got the Tom Ford Soleil Neige Quad, and I used just this first white shade there, just here at the inner corner, and I dragged it underneath a little bit to blend with the slate eyeliner. Okay, and then to finish off the look, I used the Chantecaille Lip Chic in Sari Rose, so S-A-R-I. And that was it. So that's everything, and I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.
Okay, so I decided, I wasn't originally recording, but then I decided I might as well just go ahead and record this eye look while I'm doing it. So I'm using the Chantecaille. This is the new warm Quartet from the Hummingbird collection. So I'm using the Sonia G Worker 2, and I already did my right eye here so far, but I'm using shade number 1, which is this highlighter shade, and it's shimmery, like, it's supposed to be a shimmery peach. It looks a little bit more, it's a little deeper than what I would think of as a shimmery peach. So it's, yeah, it's like it's more of a darker peach than what I typically picture when I think of peach eyeshadow. So I usually think of more of like a light wash of color, and you can see that this is definitely going to be a deeper version of that. Here is a swatch of that here. So here, I'll put it on my hand so you can see. Gosh, there we go. Sorry, I am testing out camera and lighting options. So any feedback that you have, please share it with me. So yeah, that would be great. All right, so all I did was I put the highlight shade all over the top of my lids. I'm going to use this same brush and I'm going into shade number 4. This one down here below. This is the Taupe shade. And this one actually has some pink pearl in it. And I am gonna put this all over. All right, so actually I think this would be great, just leaving it on its own for a spring summery look, just a little bit of peachy, pinky iridescence. But I would like to go ahead and add in a little bit more. So I'm going to use the Rephr 01 in the Slate color. And I'm going to just add a little bit all along the bottom. All right, so you can see that there's a thick gradient there. I'm going to go back in with that Worker 2 and I'm going to add more of shade number 4. And I'm going to kind of tap that on top of the Slate. And then I'm just going to kind of blend a little bit of that gradient there. So it's kind of getting more and more diluted into the warmer colors as we approach the crease. All right, so I really like that. It's more of a horizontal gradation from the Slate to the warmer colors. I didn't use the matte shade at all. Now for lining it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Slate and just kind of deepen that up. So this is the Smudger 2 from Sonia G. I'm going to put this on the upper lash line. Now for my lower lash line, I am going to keep the Slate. And so I'm just getting a tiny bit on the brush with the Slate. And I'm going to actually mix that in with the matte shade. So just a little bit of the matte shade on there as well. Okay, so that's it for that. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit of the highlight shade to the inner corner. This is the Rephr number 12. All right. So I'm just gonna finish off this eye look with some mascara. I'll be right back, thanks. Okay, so I'm back. So I just finished it off with the By Terry Lash Expert Twist Mascara. And on my lips, I used the Chantecaille Lip Chic in Bourbon Rose. So this is Bourbon Rose. All right, so that is everything for this look and I'll see you again soon. Hi, thanks for joining me for another look. So I am going to start off today with the matte shade and I'm going to put this all over my lid. I'm using the Sonia G Soft Shader and I'm just going to apply this all over. All right, so I'm then going to go in with the Slate shade. So I'm using the Sonia G Crease 1 And I'm going to start at my outer corner, but I'm pretty much going over the majority of the eyelid again. I just want to see how these layer. So I'm just going to let it gradually fade in. And I think extra lift on the brush, just kind of going in the crease at the moment. Okay, top, those are completely even. Okay, next I'm taking the Rephr 15 and I am going in with shade number 4. And I'm gonna apply this on the inner corner and layer it out over the slate a little. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe any excess off of this brush and I'm gonna use the same brush to go into shade number 1. And I'm just getting a tiny bit on the tip and I'm going into the crease. I'm just gonna kind of blend all of these together. Okay, and then I'm getting a little more on the tip and I'm just gonna dab some in the inner corner. Okay. And then to line my eyes, this is the Sonia G Flat Definer, and I am using the slate color. I just want a soft line under the eye, so I didn't add any additional shadow, just whatever was left on the brush. Okay, so this is the final eyeshadow look. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off with mascara and I will be right back. Thanks. Okay, so this is the final eye look. So just what I have on my face today, I am using a foundation sample of the Future Skin from Chantecaille in shade Aura. I hadn't tried this shade yet, so I just picked up a sample, trying that on. And then for blush, I'm using the Patrick Ta She's Sincere, it's the peach one. And under my eyes, I have the Sisley Stylo Lumiere in shade 1. And I haven't done finishing powder yet. We're going to do that in a second. And brows, Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel. So the mascara I just added was the by Terry Lash Expert Twist Brush Mascara. And for the lips, I have a mix of the Chantecaille Lip Veil in Moabi, which is this. This is kind of like a brighter pink shade. And Honey Pot, which is more of a neutral. So I mixed those together on my lips. So, all right, thanks so much. Okay, so for my next eye look, I'm gonna leave Slate out of it completely. And I'm actually just going for light and shimmer. So I am going to put a thin coat of the matte shade right here, number 2, down on my lower lash, above my lashes on the lid. So this is pencil 2, and I'm gonna do kind of a thick layer so it covers about half of the eyelid space. And just drag any excess over the remainder of the lid. So next I'm gonna go in with something a little bit fluffier. I'm taking, this is the Sonia G Jumbo Blender, and I'm going to go in with the highlighter. Oops. Well, you know what? I dipped it into number 4, so we'll actually go into number 4. And we're gonna put this over the lid. And I'm concentrating on the lower half of the lid, and then I'll just have excess go up. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe any excess off of the brush, and I'm gonna go into number 1, the highlighter shade. And I'm just gonna dab a little bit in the corner. And again, this is the same brush, so it's kind of large. And then I'm gonna drag some into the crease and bring it up a little. All right, so it's a very warm, peachy look. Okay. So I think now I'm just gonna actually finish it off with some liner, and looks like some of the matte shade. Let me just blend that out. Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna apply some eyeliner to this and some mascara, and I will be right back. Thanks. Okay, I am back. So this is the final eye look. So I left out the slate color from the Quartet. These are all of the warm shades. And because of that pink pearl iridescence in the fourth color, it really does lend itself to like a coppery peachy look to it. I think the pink iridescence mixed with the peachiness just kind of gives off like a little bit of a coppery vibe to it, like a bright copper. So on top of that, I added the Chantecaille Luster Glide Silk Infused Eyeliner in Earth, which is just this brown. So it's just a regular brown eyeliner. So that's on my upper and lower lashes. And then I added the By Terry Lash Expert Twist Mascara. So everything else I have on my face, I am wearing the Chantecaille Lip Veil in Tamboti. This is the shade that came out with the luminescent eye shades last from the fall collection. So these are the elephant and rhinoceros, pangolin. So those eyeshadows, this lip veil was released at that time. In addition, I have on the Aura Future Skin Foundation from Chantecaille, the Sisley Stylo Lumiere in shade 1. And then I set everything on my face with the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra powder. This is the original in white, and I used the tiniest bit. This powder can give you a white cast if you are not careful. Okay, so then I added the blush from Givenchy. This is the Prisme blush and highlighter duo, and I used the shade Romantica, and I focused on the blush side versus the highlighter. So that's everything on my face right now. Okay, so I've got one last eye look. This one is gonna be just super simple, and basically it's gonna be just an all over lid look. So let me start off with what I have on. I have on the Future Skin Foundation in Aura. And then I also have the Sisley Stylo Lumiere in shade 1 underneath my eyes. I'm using the Chantecaille Perfect Blur finishing powder from the spring collection. And for my cheeks, I'm using the Chantecaille Cheek Gelée in Vibrant. And on my lips, I have the Chantecaille Lip Veil in Honey Pot, which is this shade here. So it's like a really light neutral pink. It's on the more nude, it's like a nude pink. All right, so that is everything I currently have on. And for the eye look, we're going to keep it really simple. I'm just going to use the matte shade and the slate shade and put them all over. So just curious how they look layered together. So I'm using the Sonia G Soft Shader, and I'm just going to go into the matte shade here and put that all over my eye. All right, wiping the excess off of that brush. Okay, I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going into Slate, and I'm just going to get some on my brush and go all over that. Okay, I did not pick up enough there. Okay, so that's it for the eyeshadow. I'm just gonna take a clean brush. This is the Refer 16. It's just an oversized crease brush. I'm just gonna go in with no shadow and just clean those edges. Okay, so that is it for the eyeshadow. I'm gonna just add, I think, let's just use the Slate as a liner today. I'm gonna go in with the Sonia G Flat Definer. I'm gonna do the upper and lower lashes with this. Okay, so that's it for this. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna put on some mascara and I'll be with you in a second. Thanks. Okay, so I am back. One thing I neglected to mention before when I was going over what I had on my face, I forgot I also used the Chantecaille Eclat Brillant highlighter. This is from the holiday collection. So it's this one here. It's a really nice gold. I use it with a very light hand. I think it works better for medium and darker skin tones, but for not using such a light touch. But I think it actually works well in all skin tones, provided that you are gentle with the application because it is very pigmented. All right, so for the eye look, I just finished it off with the Volume de Chanel mascara. And I used actually the blue one. So it's number 70. I think it's like called Night Blue or something like that. So this is the finished eye look. And I did get a tiny bit of fallout from the Slate shadow. Not too much though. Actually, some of the sparkle is from the highlight, but you can see that I have some right here from the actual eyeshadow. So right there. So it doesn't really bother me, but it's something to be aware of. You might want to put some powder or something down below and brush that away or whatever. So that is everything for this look. One thing to note about the Slate shadow, if you apply it without anything on your lid, it goes on, you can make it like really sheer and it goes on kind of like in a light layer. But if you have like a primer or even just the matte shadow that I used just now on your lid, then it does kind of stick to it. So it's much easier to like build that up if you have something down, and you can actually kind of tap it on and get a really deep color. And if you want to, like I really had to blend it on my lids. I really buffed it in there in order to kind of sheer it out a little bit. But it's definitely going to be very, very easy to get a very pigmented look with the Slate shadow if you have something like the matte shade or a primer underneath. So thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Hi, thank you so much for joining me for these eye looks today. So now I wanted to take a few minutes to go over my final thoughts on the Hummingbird Eye Quartet in Warm. So this is available on Chantecaille's website. It is not currently available on other retailers yet, but that will be rolling out shortly. So hopefully within a few weeks, you'll see these at other retailers. It is part of the spring collection, and it is a limited edition, but I would expect it to be around for a few months since obviously it hasn't even come out to other retailers yet. So you probably got a while to purchase these items. And honestly, I am loving this collection. I am so incredibly happy with this eyeshadow quad. I knew I was gonna like it, but I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I really do. And the reason for my absolute love for this quartet is the Slate shade. So this is a really beautiful warm quad. I love all of these colors. The three warm shades, they make beautiful warm eye looks. They are, they're not the same as like a Pat McGrath, whatever, but it does kind of remind me of like some of the colors you can create with the Divine Rose quad, just because, you've got that pinky gold duochrome in here, and you've got the peachy shade and a brown matte. So, you know, they're kind of similar in some respects to the Divine Rose palette. They are very different. They, you know, these obviously, the formulas are very different between Chantecaille's and Pat McGrath's shadows. So I feel like these are a little bit lighter, more ethereal looking in general, whereas Pat McGrath's are definitely more in your face sparkle. Not that these aren't sparkly, but I just feel like the actual finished look of these is a little bit diffused in comparison. So what I think makes this quad super special though is the inclusion of this slate shadow. This slate shadow is a really beautiful, cool gray, okay? And it's like kind of more of a bluish silver gray. So a lot of the silver colors that have been included in things recently are more of a true silver. And this is really more of a blue gray mix in there. And I feel like this totally transforms this Quartet from just a regular old warm quad that seems to be, you know, really popular right now. And this makes it so wearable for so many skin tones. This color, it blends beautifully when you blend it with the fourth shade, the duochrome topper, you get a beautiful look. When you blend it with any of these colors, you kind of transform the shades. So, you know, depending how much you want to use of each of them, you can totally create a brand new color or look. So I love this. I think, you know, adding in this cool color, cool toned color, it really kind of neutralizes the palette. So it works well for people who prefer cool tones, neutral tones, and warm tones. And I feel like you just have the ability to mix and match here very easily and create a wide variety of looks. So I hope that the looks that I showed you guys were helpful. You know, those were just, my personal favorites were the one where I used the slate, you know, like a thick line of the slate down here and kind of did a horizontal gradient going up. You know, that was probably my favorite overall. But I really love incorporating this in like every look, but it looks gorgeous without this as well. So in the original video that I shot with the swatches, I used the quad the way it was intended. So I used this as the highlighter shade. The matte was the base. The duochrome was like an all over lid shape on top of that. And the slate was just as a liner. And I thought that was very beautiful. But I have found that for me, I really like emphasizing the slate shade even more. So that's my personal preference. But again, that's what I think makes this quad so great. There are just so many ways to use it and so many you know, different variances that you can get from this. So texture-wise, all of the shadows have beautiful textures. I did not really notice any fallout with the highlighter shade or the matte shade. They definitely did not. The slate, I did get a little fallout. You can see some on my cheek right here. It's really, I think it's pretty minimal. It doesn't bother me. The topper shade, again, no real fallout. I did have fallout like once or twice, just a tiny bit, but that was due to application. If you tap it on or you use your finger, you're not really gonna get any fallout with that shade. But when I was trying to blend it with my brush, I was actually blending the topper and the slate. I did get a little bit of fallout between the two of them, and I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of both of those involved. So that's just one thing to note. Again, I think the level of fallout is pretty minimal. You could definitely wipe it away afterwards. One thing to note, the highlighter shade here, okay, so that's a beautiful, kind of like an iridescent peachy shadow, and you can see it's shimmery, but it's more of like a metallic shiny. So, you know, you're not going to see like huge chunks of glitter or anything. The matte shade, very creamy, neutral matte, works great as a base shade. If you use it under the other shadows, you know, it's great for them to kind of stick to increase the pigment, particularly the slate shade. The slate shade, if you put it on its own without anything down on the lid, you can really sheer that out and get a really nice light wash of color. If you put it on top of the base shade, the matte, then it actually kind of sticks to it. So wherever you put your brush, it kind of sticks. So if you tap it on, you can get a really deep pigmented color, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So that's just something to note there. This one actually sticks really well to the base. Topper, again, this is definitely going to be a more sheer color, but the main purpose of this is the duochrome. And it kind of, if you put this on top of the peachy shade, you know, it just kind of, they combine to make this beautiful copper color. So I think overall the duochrome shade, you know, when you put it on either this one or this one, you know, you kind of end up with this beautiful coppery look to it. And I think when you mix it with the slate, again, it's another beautiful look, but it's a little bit more complex because you've got a wide variety of colors kind of mixing in there. As to comparisons for the other shadows, the slate shade is the one that is going to be most similar to the luminescent eye shades that were released from the fall collection. Those would be like the elephant and rhinoceros and so forth. Color-wise, it is not similar to any of them. It's definitely more blue-gray. But texture-wise and just like the actual luminosity of it is going to be more similar to those than any of the others. Again, the peachy shade is going to be more like a metallic iridescent shade. Then you've got the matte, and then the topper is much more sheer than any of the luminescent eye shades, and it's pretty sparkly, but it's just special because it is meant to kind of like go over other shades and so forth. So overall, everything blended very well for longevity on my eyes. Overall, the shadows, you know, it's winter right now, so my skin's not, you know, it's drier. So without a primer, I can go about 8 hours or so with these shadows without any creasing. One thing I did notice is around 8 hours, the slate shade, if I had really used like a dark application of it, then it did seem to fade a bit by the end of those 8 hours. During the summer, when my skin's a little bit greasier, it's hotter, I'm sweating and so forth, I would expect these to last maybe 5 or 6 hours without a primer. So just something to note. But overall, you know, absolutely beautiful. And I'm super happy with this quad. I can't wait to get the rest of the collection. Overall, I think, you know, it's things like this that are making Chantecaille like one of my absolute favorite makeup brands. So I am super excited about this collection. You know, I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please leave them down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And I will be back soon, hopefully, with the rest of the Chantecaille collection. We'll do some swatches. And again, I'll do another video with more eye looks with the Cool Quad when that comes in. And I did purchase the lip veils as well. So we'll be going through all of those. So thanks so much for tuning in and have a great day.